So we're going to look at companion planting and what plants go with what. So I'm going to give you guys some hints. Do you remember I showed you the chart before with the pictures on it? So if you look you look at the pictures, you can see what the vegetable is, and then it'll say tomatoes. And then it'll tell you all the plants that go good with tomatoes. So we know we're going to plant some tomatoes and some ground cherries and some squash. So what we need to know, what do tomatoes go good with? So I always like to plant a little basil. This is purple basil and this is sweet basil. I like to plant them in between the tomatoes because they will attract the right pollinators at the same time, and they go good together there. It's like the buddy system or companion planting. Chives was another one. I have some onions. We can plant a few onions, little row of onions. Peas, as they grow, like a little bit more shade. So as the tomatoes grow, it's going to provide a bit of shade for the peas. The peas are going to get tall. The tomatoes are going to get tall. And then we'll plant the next shortest things down, all the way down to the short guys that'll get the sun then. Okay, now this one we don't have to dig too deep of a hole, but it's got to be big enough to fit this inside. Okay, so that's probably good, because if I put that in there, do you remember how to do this? Can you do this very gently? Put your hand out and open your fingers. You're gonna have to put the worm down.
I've put my hand up like twice now.
Okay, now put one hand out. Okay, and over the hole over here. And we do that so that we can protect the stem, right? Okay, now gently put it in the hole. Okay. Uh-oh. We did break it, but it might survive. You gotta be very gentle with the baby plants. You gotta be really gentle. Okay, so we have enough room here for a few of the onions and then a squash. Now the squash is gonna get big and it's gonna run all over the place. So in the summertime, when we're here, or even in the fall when we're harvesting, we'll have to train the squash vine to go around the bed, and we'll have to be careful where we walk. In the meantime, these are our onions, and these are the Walla Walla onions that grow big. So in the fall, we'll harvest these, and then maybe we can make some salsa. Okay, so this is how you do this. Take these guys apart, teasing them. One. Oh, this guy's going to be a little tougher. And these guys, the bulbs, you can see the bulb already starting to form there. And they're going to be really big, like grocery store onions, not like chives or green onions. We're going to break off just the very bottom of the roots, because that's going to encourage it to root even more and put more energy into the bulb. And then we're just going to plop it in there, squeeze the soil around it lightly. Now, I think we have room for 2 squash, and we've got winter squash over here. So I know that this is a squash that's going to grow all summer long. And squash, according to our chart, squash like tomatoes and onions, don't they? So dig the hole right there. You guys don't have to dig those holes as big as the tomatoes. Oh, there it comes. The root's coming out the bottom. Thank you. Teamwork, yeah, exactly. So press it down lightly and then cover it with some soil. And then we'll give everything a little shot of transplanter. And I leave it on fairly loose so that the spread goes further, because it should go all around the whole bed. Good job. Excellent job, you guys. Look at how much we did. I know, that was a lot of planting for, yeah.
White chochaitip, Emma Gottfredson and Squawkst, Titikamlusas Aquin. Today I will be teaching you words in Sechotmachchin from our video. La eska so ach. Kolawa. Kul, lau, wa. Kolawa. Oak, we will. Oak, will, ul. Oak, we will. Cheapenton. cheap, winton. Cheap winton.
Now these are the purple pole beans. So that'll give you purple beans. So I'd like you to look on here and find beans.
Beans, broccoli,
Okay.
carrots, cauliflower, cucumber, peas, rosemary, strawberries, Swiss chard, and tomatoes.
So beans go with pretty much everything. They're friends with all the guys. There's also green beans on here. So if you guys want to get planting on that, there's a couple of trowels.
You remember how to do it? Nice big hole there. We're going to flip it over very carefully so we don't wreck the roots and the system. We don't have to take the stick out. It's going to come out. There it is. Oh, careful. Let me get it from my hand. And then you're going to have to put it in nicely, okay? Very gently, and you fill it in and stand it up. It's okay if you get your hands dirty. That's what gardening's all about, right?
Now we're going to lean them against the trellis so that they can have some support. We might have to put a little tie on them, but usually they'll just start climbing themselves. So the closest thing to this is peppers and cucumbers. So then we should look up peppers.
Peppers.
So basil, which I have, and basil also loves tomatoes. So we'll plant a couple of basil in there as well. Okay, and then
do not plant. Beans and broccoli.
I'm very, very excited to have the children be learning this year knowledge, because it is really important. Going inside to your place, it's really calm, and learning from the plants to be patient and to get what you need from everything around you.
The Three Sisters is corn, beans, and squash. And those are the three vital staples to the human diet. You can survive on those three things. Corn makes flour and all kinds of other things. The beans are high in nutrient value, lots of protein in beans. They're also nitrogen fixers. But the most important thing is to have a winter squash that stores well over the winter, because way back in the day, they didn't have refrigerators or freezers or anything, so they had to have vegetables, root vegetables, and squashes, winter squashes that would store and keep them going through the winter. Squash also dries very easily, so they would smoke and dry different types of squash and whatnot. So not only is it what the humans need nutritionally, but it's called the Three Sisters because the three different plants support each other like three sisters would do. So the corn grows up, and it is the support for the beans which climb around it. The beans grab nitrogen from the air and fix it in the soil. The corn needs the nitrogen in the soil in order to survive. Then the squash rambles around on the ground underneath the corn and the beans, which are both reaching for the sun, and it acts as a living mulch. So it shades the soil, so it monitors the soil temperature, keeps the soil moist and cool, also keeps the weeds down. And squash tends to have kind of prickly leaves. The predators of the garden don't like them. Like, bugs are not going to climb on a prickly leaf, like especially soft-bodied bugs like caterpillars and whatnot. They're not going to like that at all. The nice thing about the Three Sisters too is it's a long season growth. So they all get harvested together in the end. If you're doing pole beans that are drying beans, if you're doing squash that doesn't get harvested until like October, just before the frost, and the corn, it at this size that we have, it's not going to ripen until late August, early September. So Connie has grown some plants from seed. Connie, what do we got over there?
We've got corn, and this is the corn here that you brought us. I'm not sure which
It's a sweet corn.
Oh, it's okay. It's a sweet corn?
So we can do a combination. Okay, so we're going to go back and forth in a zigzaggy fashion, just because we can fit more in then. Yeah, and now there's 2 in each one. So we'll spread these out a bit. I'll start down here and I'll show you guys. So you guys remember how to take them out? Yes. Putting your hand like that, loosening it up. And because there's 2, we have to gently separate and tease them apart. Okay, so look at how easy they come apart. So we're gonna put one in this hole that Connie's dug here, and then we're gonna dig another hole. Okay, so we're gonna get the foundational plant, which is the corn, in first. So we're gonna go zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. Corn is pretty tolerant. It's not like other things that are really delicate, so it's pretty strong, this corn.
Tukles ten okoyaus. Tukles ten okoyaus. Tukles ten okoyaus.